Hey everybody, 1.1 is about a week and a half away, a week and 2 days. And if you're anything like me, chilling at between hunter level 40 and hunter level 45, you're probably running out of materials and looking for things to spend your stamina on. So today I wanted to talk about how we could best prepare for patch 1.1, especially if you're going to be playing and building Lacrimosa. So in terms of characters, aside from Lacrimosa, there are 3 characters that I personally intend on pre-farming for, and that is Haniel, Sakiri, and a character that I don't have on my team's roster yet, Daffodil. I do have a selector remaining, but I'm trying to hit hard pity before I use my selector for Daffodil. Now I highly recommend that we hop in here, we level up and ascend Sakiri, Haniel, and Daffodil, and then we could start preparing for Lacrimosa. So we want to level them up, ascend them, level up and ascend their art, and start building up their Esper abilities as much as we can. The problem is everybody wants to go and farm their console as soon as they hit level 40, since they could get that gold drop, and I don't recommend doing that yet. We are at the start of the game. Sure, we're almost done with 1.0, but we're still very early on in the game's life cycle, and I personally feel like most of our stamina should be going to guaranteed upgrades, such as leveling up your character, leveling up your abilities, ascending your weapons. All of that should be your priority right now until you have at least 2 fully built teams in order to like carry the end game or whatever. Sure, you should probably do a handful of runs here and there so that you could at least have some gear available to you, but don't make it the only place that you spend your stamina, or you'll be wasting a lot of stamina on a non-guaranteed result. Which is hard to say when I'm sitting here looking at my Hattori piece where I've got a chaos damage bonus with crit rate, crit damage, flat attack, and attack percent. It's almost looking perfect, so I really can't complain about this one, but yeah, I did get this one on a random run. Little flex. But yeah, what do we need to pre-farm for Lacrimosa specifically? This is important stuff, especially if you want to get her ascension materials and all of her ability level up materials. We're going to real quickly cover what we need to pre-farm for Lacrimosa. So in terms of ascension material, we're going to need to go and bop Sorrenti for these little seeds, and we need 86 of these in order to max level ascend our character. Based on what your account's level is, you could kind of judge whether or not you need a farm for the max level or not. But you'll need roughly 80 of those seeds to acquire the max level. For weekly boss materials, you're going to need a total of 11 of these dress sleeves of vanity, which requires you to go and fight the Arachne on a weekly basis. If you've been doing the weekly boss fights leading up until now, you probably have a good amount of these, but make sure that you have at least 10 or 11 of these for upgrading your skills and everything. And then in terms of the skill materials themselves, you're going to want to go to the Art of Escape and farm these up. You'll need approximately 17 of the purples, a dozen of the blue Suspended Whispers, and around 10 of the Hesitation of Waves. So run this a few times, make sure you get stocked up on these, and you'll be good to go. You're also going to easily need a couple million beetle coins, as well as character experience and arc experience, especially if you're going to be pulling for her arc, which is what we're going to be talking about next. We're going to be talking about the best arcs that will work on her. Now, aside from her limited arc, we're going to talk about the other arcs that work well on her, and that starts with the Fluff of Fearlessness arc. The Fluff of Fearlessness arc can be acquired from the Battle Pass, so it is not a free-to-play option, unfortunately. But aside from her limited arc, this is going to be one of the best arcs on her. And then next up on the list, this is where a problem comes in. The Youthful Fantasy arc is pretty decent on her. I would say it's second on the list of Fluff of Fearlessness, and of course, third compared to the last rose, which is her character arc. So Youthful Fantasy is pretty good, but the problem is that this is also the best arc on Daffodil. And so unless if you have 2 copies of this, like due to pulling on the arc banner previously, you're generally going to want to be using this arc on Daffodil, so that could be a problem. So I think a lot of people are going to value pulling for her limited arc. Her limited arc, The Last Rose, is a pretty sweet arc. I'm not going to get into the details as to what it does in this video. We'll be covering that in the guide. But the materials that are needed to level it up to max level, we're going to need 420,000 beetle coins, of course. They want to run us broke. And then we're going to need these golden apple seeds. We will need 18 of these purple golden apple seeds. We will need 18 of these blue silver apple seeds. And we're going to need 14 of these iron apple seeds. Now, if you're done spending all your stamina and farming up your materials that way, and you've built up Daffodil, you've built up, in my case, Sakiri and Haniel, which I'm not going to have all the stamina in the world for this, and you want to start farming the overworld, you're going to want to look for the dream spawn. All you do is go in here. The way that I like to find specific materials is like you could go in the Lost Exchange and click Lost Whispers, which is the lowest tier of them. Then you click the little magnifying glass and click Anomaly Drop, and it'll take you to this page. Or you could just come to this page manually through the activity guide. But once you click track, it'll show you where one is on the map, the nearest one to you. You go fight him real quick, and then it'll lead you straight to the next one on the map. So this could help you to farm up all of these overworld materials if you have the time and the will to do so. So go and knock those out, and that'll help you get a lot of the extra materials that you'll need. Also super important that if you haven't yet completed it, hop into Beyond the Rails. The first circle, the fracture circle, is going to give you 1600 annulith. That's a whole 10 pool. And then the second circle, the special route, is going to refresh at patch 1.1. And this is another 750 annulith that you can go and gather. The 750 will be refreshing, and so it is in our best interest to do the best that we can to try and max this out. Many people have been able to. I'm still working on it. I've upgraded my character, so now it's time for me to go and try and grind it out some more. But it is super worth your time. As a filthy casual in other gacha games, this wasn't something that I focused on, but now that I'm trying my damnedest in Neverness, hopefully I'll be able to max out this prime circle. I will. I'll get there, and then I'll make a video on it. And it might be a little bit too late, but I will accomplish this. I personally have been running a Hattori, Nonali, Esper Zero, G1 team, and then for my bossing team, I've been running Chiz and Friends. I've been running Sakiri, Haniel, and Adler to try and survive, but I might try the old Cheese solo team with whatever these buffs do. I haven't been using these, so I've been kind of holding myself back. But do your best to try and complete this because 750 annulith. As well as these materials which can be used, you can exchange these for some pretty good materials in the shop. So check that out if you're falling behind on stamina and want to level up your characters to complete this. Aside from that, make sure you're spending your daily stamina, you're doing your dailies, you're doing your weekly city stamina grind. Get all that done with so that you're progressing your account before we get to 1.1. And then the last note that I want to leave you on is before we get to 1.1, let's do our best to try and hit City Tycoon level 30 so that we could get these last 40 annulith, these last 3 tri-keys. If you've been playing the game since launch, we're getting closer and closer to Tycoon level 30. Some people have already hit it, and some people have been spending money on fawns and have already hit like Tycoon level 40, that's just crazy. But yeah, try and hit that Tycoon level 30. We've got a week and a half left. We could hit that easily. I'm going to hit it today. And let's farm up these characters. Don't waste your money on the rabbit hole. Or not your money, your stamina on the rabbit hole. Try and use that more wisely. And then the last note, try and do any exploration you haven't done. There's a lot to do in the game. And I'm sure there are people who have completed the main story who haven't gotten halfway through the exploration. So try and knock that out. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed and got something out of this. If anything, it is how to pre-farm for Lacrimosa. That's like the core of the video, which we'll be doing a giveaway for Lacrimosa on release night. Wednesday, June 3rd, we'll be going live as soon as the patch goes live, and we'll be doing a bunch of giveaways. So come hop in and say what's up for that. We'll also have a Lacrimosa guide dropping closer to the patch's release. So look forward to that. Subscribe for future Neverness to Everness content, and I will see you guys in a future video. Peace.
Subscribe.